This video is sponsored by the Best Sound Award for tonight's Oscars, where, for some stupid reason, they decided to nominate Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny over Across the Spider-Verse. Like, really? I love John Williams, but like, they did hear the Across the Spider-Verse soundtrack, right? It doesn't make sense to me. Hey guys, it's AJYT Abbott here, and tonight is the 96th Annual Academy Awards. So today I'm going to be giving my ranking for all 10 Best Picture nominations. I've watched all of them over the past few weeks. Some I watched last year, some I didn't get to till this year, but we're going to rank them today from the worst to the best. Now, we are going to disagree on this ranking. You are going to have certain films ranked higher than some of the ones I have on this list, and that's totally fine. Let me know what your ranking is down in the comments below. I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on each of these films. With that in mind, let's get into the ranking. Number 10 is The Zone of Interest. This was the final film I watched out of these nominations, and I get what they're going for here with this family living their mundane lives while the horrors of Auschwitz are heard in the background, but the big problem with this movie is that I got what they were going for instantly. This would have been better as a short film because I instantly got what they were going for like 10 minutes in, but then the problem is there's like another hour and like 15-20 minutes after that. And I just got bored. It was very boring. It was a slog to get through. And ultimately, it was just not for me. I'm sorry. I definitely would swap this movie out for something like Air, The Color Purple, even Across the Spider-Verse. Number 9 is American Fiction. I really like the concept of this story, with Jeffrey Wright's character becoming acclaimed for writing this book that he doesn't even like himself outside of that storyline. There is just some very underwhelming family drama. Unfortunately, I didn't find much of that compelling. The most I enjoyed of that was Jeffrey Wright and Sterling K. Brown's character's relationship. But other than that, there just wasn't much substance for me to have here. There was nothing I took away from this movie. It didn't really satisfy me. The ending was not satisfying as well. It felt like a cop-out without spoiling anything. It just did not go the route I thought it was going. It left a bad taste in my mouth. It's not really a bad movie. I wouldn't say that. I did enjoy the comedy of it, especially the name that they come up for with the book, if you know what I'm talking about there. But it's just the way they wrapped things up that put me off from really liking it. Number 8 is Maestro. This is very much a Oscar bait movie, but I can't deny that I really did enjoy it. It's the handling of the story for me is what works best. Bradley Cooper, Carey Mulligan, they both give fantastic performances here. There's a lot of charm in both of their characters. Of course, with this being a biopic, you have the familiar beats of the rise to stardom and then the downfall. But what works about this film is that it isn't all about that. It's actually a much deeper and personal story that studies on the relationship between Leonard Bernstein and his wife. And I very much liked that approach to the film. It was very different than what I thought it was going to be going in. It was very well done. It has very well done cinematography. The makeup on Bradley Cooper is just really outstanding. It's almost guaranteed of bringing home an Oscar tonight. And it doesn't really feel manipulative of your emotions. It feels very natural to them taking a more grounded story approach than what a lot of biopics do now. It isn't quite as good as Tar was from last year, if you remember that movie, which was also about a composer. But I still had a great time with this. Number 7 is Past Lives. This is a movie that feels extremely real thanks to its performances and its storytelling. I never felt as though I was watching a movie. I kind of felt like I was watching snippets of just two people who weave in and out of each other's lives, and they have these little defining moments there because they kind of think about what they could have been if things have went differently for them. I love the way this movie makes you think, because there's a part of you that kind of wants our two leads to be together, but there's also another part of you that sees how understanding the husband character is of the situation, and their chemistry is just as believable as our two leads. I like that even the characters poke fun at how movie-like their situation is. It doesn't go the route that you think it's going to go. It's not really predictable whatsoever, and it's all around a really beautifully made film. Number 6 is Anatomy of a Fall. I wasn't sure if I was going to really enjoy this or not due to its length and it being a court drama for most of the film, but it really did end up having the opposite reaction, and I was completely engaged here. Sandra Huller delivers a great performance, the kid playing her son does an awesome job as well, and I found myself really trying to connect the dots as the movie went on and we get more facts about the story and what really happened. I was enjoying the film for the most part because you really aren't sure if Huller's character is, this manipulative person that really did do this terrible thing, and you're also not sure if she just didn't do it, and the evidence is just so stacked against her that it paints her in a really bad light. So I enjoyed it mostly for that. I say for the most part because similar to American Fiction, the ending wasn't satisfying to me. I can't say much without spoiling it, but the ambiguity of its ending caught me off guard, and I understand why they did it that way, but it just didn't stick the landing for me. Number 5 is Poor Things. Now, this is a very controversial film amongst the nominations due to its premise being essentially someone with a child's brain exploring her sexuality, and I understand why that makes some people uncomfortable with it. Trust me, I had my own share of uncomfortable moments during the film. But I personally enjoyed it for its artistic values and its performances more than anything else. Emma Stone is just really iconic as Bella Baxter. I mean, it's a character that I'll remember forever. This has to be one of her most demanding roles of her career, and all of her hard work absolutely paid off in her favor. Mark Ruffalo and Willem Dafoe also do a great job in their supporting roles, with Mark Ruffalo cracking me up nonstop with his line deliveries. The cinematography, breathtaking. Yorgos' direction, he's always made very strange movies, but the way that he captures the world that we're in this movie in particular is really something else. The way that we go from colorless scenes to extremely vibrant scenes, kind of representing Bella's view on the world, is very cool. I love the absolute wackiness that this film has to offer. It's a very tough race for Best Actress this year, but I'll be over the moon if Emma Stone takes home this one. Number 4 is Killers of the Flower Moon. If Emma Stone doesn't win for Poor Things, I would absolutely be shocked if Lily Gladstone would not get the win in her place. It's extremely deserved. Martin Scorsese comes out swinging with this 3.5-hour long movie that didn't really need to be that long. I feel like he could have even made it longer if he wanted to, because this guy makes long movies. But even though the runtime is a bit too long for me, I by no means wasted time. Every detail that Marty focuses on here, it's utilized in some way to either move the story along or evoke emotion, and it completely works. This is one of Leonardo DiCaprio's best performances. I'm honestly shocked that he did not make it in for Best Actor this year. In equal measure, Lily Gladstone and Robert De Niro turn in great performances as well. This is just a very dark film that deals with the harshness of the time period, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a tough one to watch for most, because it's absolutely gut-wrenching, some of the things that happen in this movie. You have the tragedy happening in Lily Gladstone's character's life, and at the same time you have to question whether or not Leonardo DiCaprio's character is truly in love with her, but at the same time he's doing these terrible, terrible things in the name of, Robert De Niro's character. But he claims that he loves her, but he is constantly torturing her with this trauma. So it's very gripping. It's probably one of the most captivating bits of the film when Lily Gladstone and Leonardo DiCaprio are sharing the screen together. Absolutely brilliant chemistry together. I was just fascinated with this movie, and I was horrified at the same time with the knowledge that this is based on true events. At number 3 is Oppenheimer. This is absolutely Christopher Nolan's year to win Best Director as well as Best Picture, and I could not be happier for him. Oppenheimer could have been made by anybody else in the industry, but it would have never resulted in the film that he gave us. Only he could do this movie. It's so injected full of his style. You feel the passion that he has for telling the gripping stories like this. Cillian Murphy is phenomenal. RDJ is robbing Ryan Gosling of the Oscar, but I can live with it. The cinematography and score are awesome, and even with it being 3 hours long, they managed to do a fascinating character study on Robert Oppenheimer, even after the main plot involving the construction of the bomb is over. Speaking of that, this is a movie about an atomic bomb, and they didn't even use CGI for it. Also, Oppenheimer's speech after the bombing is one of the most chilling scenes I've seen in a film in years. That is the magic of Christopher Nolan. At number 2, we've got Barbie. If you haven't seen my Media Dumpster episode on this one, I'll link it in the description so you can hear more about my thoughts on the movie. But yeah, you can light the torches and pick up your pitchforks now. I loved Barbie more than Oppenheimer. Deal with it. I love how unapologetically weird this movie is. It is a bit preachy. It lacks a consistent tone, but there is just so much else that this film excels on, like its production design, the handling of serious issues like self-worth, that glorious song that's going to lose to Billie Eilish. You just have so much in this movie that makes me happy. Of course, our two leads, Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, are a huge part of the film's charm, as well as the uniqueness and creativity of Greta Gerwig's directing. This could have easily been a kid's film with simplistic lessons, but instead, she turned something as simple as a Barbie movie into something that people can connect with, and that's just something you always hope for a film. But at number 1, surprise, it's The Holdovers. The Holdovers is my personal pick for Best Picture. I have to tell you right now, please watch this as soon as you can. It is fantastic. Paul Giamatti is amazing in this. You have an extremely promising young actor in Dominic Sessa. Divine Joy Randolph does a great job as well. If it were up to me, this film would win original screenplay as well, because the storytelling in this movie is one of the most beautiful parts about it. These characters are so lovable, and their individual journeys throughout the film is so satisfying to watch. That payoff that you get at the end, without me spoiling, even at the end, when our characters face a consequence for what's happened, it's almost more like a victory than a loss. You're happy for this ending. There are heartbreaking twists amongst the film. There's plenty of turns. Also, plenty of hilarious moments where our characters become more comfortable with each other and they form these long-lasting special bonds. It's emotional, it's funny, it's resonating, it's wholesome, it's heartfelt. It's a movie that I have not stopped thinking about since I watched it. So that is my favorite picture of the Best Picture nominees. Let me know, once again, your ranking down in the comments below. I hope you guys are going to enjoy the Oscars tonight if you're watching. I've been watching them live for like 6 years now. I enjoy watching the chaos and calamity of it, except for when Amy Schumer hosted that one time. We don't talk about that. But anyway, I'll do a video next week highlighting my thoughts on the nominations, the wins, all of that. And yeah, stay tuned for that. I've been AJYT Abbott. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.